All right, everybody. I just updated my spreadsheet, but here's what's important to know. 96 total shine sprites. I have all of the ones in the airstrip. And I almost have all of them in the harbor. And I think I actually know how to get the other one in the harbor. I had a theory, which was that, so there's that part where you do the race. And I was like, oh, these different bloopers go at different speeds. Those are like the squids that you surf on. And I was like, maybe if you finish, because you know, like the Mario 64... Mario 64 would have slides, right? And if you finish the slide, you would get a star. But then oftentimes you would also get a second star if you finished the slide at a certain speed. So, my theory is that maybe you can finish the races in this game at a certain speed and thereby get another star. So, that's going to be what I attempt here. Now, whether or not you can do it on the green one is a question, right? So maybe I should try yellow. Fuck. So I'm going to try it on yellow. Try cutting some corners and stuff. Can't jump once you're on the lane. What do you think? So I got kicked out. Did I lose a life? I don't know. Okay, I have 15. We'll find out. Anyway, this is my going theory on how to get this. I listened to a podcast from probably, I don't know, 2014, somewhere in there. A show called Retronauts. And they were talking about this game. And, you know, just kind of revisiting this game. Most of them felt like this was one of the weaker Mario games, you know, of Mario games. Keeping in mind that Mario games are mostly beloved. And it sounds like they, you know, they always say, like, we're going to talk about this one next, and, you know, here's our letter bag, so send it to our fucking letter sack. I guess it's also possible that if I had jumped on the correct one from the get-go, as opposed to wasting time doing whatever I was doing last time. Anyway. They did talk about some things about this, so it sounds like the production on this game was a little rushed. Because I think they had... I don't think this came out right with the release of the GameCube. I think Luigi's Mansion was actually kind of... Oh, actually, it's better if I crash, isn't it? Okay. Luigi's Mansion was kind of the... well, I don't know what time I'm shooting for, or even if this is a thing, so I guess it's not better if I crash. Unless if I'm doing really bad, then I should just go ahead and crash, right? Anyway, Luigi's Mansion was a release title. Came out when the GameCube came out, but I think this one didn't. And then I also think it's kind of... Oh, fuck. It's kind of weird for Nintendo, because I think they also didn't have a Metroid or a Zelda for launch. So it was like, well, we don't have a Mario, we don't have a Metroid, we don't have a Zelda. That seems like a minor problem. And so maybe this one had been a little bit rushed. It also, so on the show, they kind of talked about how this does reflect the sort of the times in which it was released. So in other words, some of the things that annoy me, like the ways that you get punished for doing things wrong, are pretty, they're normal for the time. It was a different time. But, and, you know, one of the hosts was saying, like, well, this is a good one to play on an emulator. Ha ha ha! This is what I thought. I made a note on my spreadsheet that Poonmaster Flex created that was like, you know what? I bet you can get another one of these by doing the races. I have a feeling you can do the races. So you race the runner guy, or you race this, and maybe if you do those in a certain amount of time, you get like a second thing. Okay. I still have some more coins to get there, some more blue coins, but it's a pretty small amount. So this is the tough sort of debate part of this game. Because at this juncture, I'm probably as familiar with this stage as I'm gonna be. So it probably behooves me to just keep doing this stage relentlessly until I find it. On the other hand, that seems so boring. But I guess maybe what I need to do is just start with the first star and just check every corner, ask every person, do everything, right? I mean, I'm kind of hoping that what happens is maybe as I get more of these, I'll start to get a sort of vibe of where they are. But it does kind of seem too like sometimes it's just like blast stuff with your hose and, you know, something will happen. You know what I mean? Like this game seems to kind of have a just a flair for the random. They're talking about, you know, there was mixed feelings on the show about the flood, the jetpack. Okay. Talk to this guy. What's your fucking problem? Alright, let's do these. So some of them liked it. And some of them did feel that it adds something to the game. So part of what I didn't know, I guess, is Nintendo did feel, and this is probably true, that they lost a lot of players when they made the move to 3D. Wait, what did he say? Something's fishy in the freight area. Okay. So when they moved to 3D, they lost players because players were like, you know, they just couldn't like wrap their heads around it. And you know, the more complicated controller from the 64 and so on. So part of it was they were like, well, the backpack was probably kind of a way to make jumping a little easier, right? Because it does give you the opportunity to change course. So if I mess up a jump, I might have a chance to get back to where I want to be. And I can get that. I can understand this way of thinking. At the same time, it's probably A, too little too late, but B, as someone else pointed out, you know, the thing with... Let's do some swimming. Okay, wait. we explored this dock. I think we're done with the dock, even though I still want to understand how to get in this dock house. Dock owl. Oh god. Anyway, I understand that line of thinking, and it's not a bad one. You know, it's not. I'm not against the idea of let's make the game work a little bit better for more people. But I think that, as someone else on the show pointed out, you know, the thing is, though, there are so many parts of the game where the mechanic switches. Because this is a game with, you know, one stage you're doing this, one stage you're doing this. And I guess traditionally the way they would build a Mario game would be like, they would kind of figure out what Mario could do first and then build the game around that. And this one maybe wasn't quite developed the same way and might have suffered for it. So that makes sense. And it was foolish, I think, to develop it that differently. Because I'm like, I don't know, there's something to be said. I get it, like, you don't want to do Mario exactly the same way over and over. At the same time, I think there's something to be said for, like, refining something that's good and making it perfect. And I think the rush schedule / desire to kind of go a couple different directions. You know, I think you can't really go the direction of trying to simplify it and go the direction of having a 3D platformer with a jetpack that can do different things. And I think they made the platforming challenges too difficult. Especially like the 2D-ish levels. And they talked a little bit about, too, how the variety, you know, wasn't there, which is definitely one of my complaints, right? It's like, well, okay, you go into one world, and, you go into a world, and you've usually got a red coin, which is like 64. You've got a, what do you call it? A race. You've got a 2D platform. You've got the one where you have to chase Mario, Shadow Mario or whatever. You know what I mean? And so by the time you get to the end, it's like you usually got one that's kind of like a boss fight, and it's sort of like, well, this game is, I guess, larger than Mario 64, but it's like 4 times larger in terms of, I guess, space that Mario can be in, basically. Which seemed hard to believe, but I'm inclined to just go with it, because whatever. But I think it doesn't feel as interesting, because it's like, in Mario 64, I felt like there was more variety. For example, there was always a red coin stage, but it was usually like you had to do something interesting or unusual to get the red coins. And this one does feel a lot like, well, you're just kind of platforming to get the red coins. Maybe I can get rid of all this oil. And there's a blue coin. How about that? Yeah, I know that. Okay. That ain't it. What else did they talk about? Well, they talked about, you know, what I've come across, which is like the fact that there's no way to know which blue coins you're missing, really. And in addition to not really knowing which blue coins are in which stages and which are missing and so on, you kind of have the problem of, they confirmed for me, that you don't know which stages you have to be on in order to get the blue coins, which is not something that was in 64. Like, you could get certain stars only in certain stages on 64, but you could get like the 100 coin ones or whatever. Oftentimes you could get other stars than the one that you were necessarily playing. So what they called it, they had a term for it. They were like, there's each level, but then there are instances on the level. So the instance in this case is the giant squid, right? And the blue coins locations are not on all the incidents. And what they said, and I don't know that this is true, but what they said is that some of the blue coins are just kind of arbitrarily placed. So in other words, if I could play this and then kind of assume like, well, okay, I don't know exactly where the blue coin's gonna be, but I have a reasonable idea. Like, if it's gonna be about this big blooper thing that I have to fight or whatever, then it's gonna be close to where he is. But that's not the case. The case in this game is more that it could be anywhere. So in other words, it could be on the complete opposite side of the level of the big boss that I have to fight in this particular one. That's fun. Alright. So I looked around here, I was on that boat. I was down here. So the point is that it makes it exceedingly difficult to figure out, because, you know, at least if I think it would be a pretty simple addition would be to say, like, on this stage or this whatever, this instance, you have this many blue coins left. Because some of them I have found have been in pretty cryptic sort of spots. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you would figure it out just by kind of going through the level. It's kind of like I think I've hit a couple that it's just like I just happened to be spraying something and one popped out, you know? So it is a little bit like, geez, how are you going to figure out which ones are where? I think that the thing they talked about, you know, and they talked about how the game is punishing, and the one person was talking about how this is a really good case for playing it on an emulator, because he's like, well, I don't think they would, if they made this game today, I think it would function very differently and it wouldn't punish you the way it does. I think the thing that he didn't get to, though, that I think is that I think the thing is, it's not just that, like, when you fail, it's like, go back, and that's the problem. The problem is that it's like, you end up spending such a high % of this game doing the worst things in the game. So, that to me is like a pretty big issue in the design. Because it's like, well, you don't want to make people... It's fine if you're going to punish people, you know what I mean? Like, plenty of games from this era and others work that way. You know, and that's how you create difficulty in something like Castlevania, right? You're like, well, if you lose when you're fighting death, you don't just get to, like, go back and fight death again. You have to, okay, I did this before. You don't just have to go back and fight death again. You have to, go through the hallway with the knights, the axe knights, and that's like a difficult sequence. So, you know, it's not like a totally different thing, but I think the thing is that this game not only has you repeat things, it has you repeat things that just aren't very interesting. You know what I mean? Repeating the Yoshi sequences where you're like trying to manage not touching the water ever with Yoshi is just not fun. And so I think that was the big thing in this game. Is I was like, I think if you have people repeat things that are fun, or like the Dracula hallway or the Death hallway, I guess, is an example too, where it's like, well, you're repeating something that's not super fun and it's pretty difficult, but over time you will master it, and then you'll get good at it, and it won't be so hard. But also, that's like the end of the game. That's the hardest thing in the game. And see, like this guy, I'm like, does he know? Does he know that did I already do this? I feel like I already did this, but I don't know. Shooting birds is a thing. Because I don't want to. So here's the thing. I gotta fight this guy, but also I need to think like, do I need to go way up top? Probably. In order to thoroughly explore this level, I do. I don't think I can shoot these sea muggles. Boing. Like, I don't particularly care for doing this twice. So, like, okay, there's a box here now. Oh, that was there. Like, is it possible that this is like something that just now the blue coin has arrived, you know? Not impossible. So anyway, I am having a difficult debate on this as far as, because I still haven't really landed on like doing the whole game, like completion, because I feel strongly that on one hand I feel like I'm very close, and I don't think I want to ever play this again, really. So that makes me feel like, you know, maybe you shouldn't. But on the other hand, I feel like it's uninteresting to do. I mean, I think some of those red coin stages will be a legitimate challenge. So that's something in favor of finishing it. But yeah, basically on this show, they were kind of talking about how, you know, this was not a terrible game, but seems that maybe didn't quite achieve its dreams. You know what I mean? See, I'm like, what if I swim under the oil? What if I get some fruit? Now there's no music, I think. I've created a silent game environment for myself. Okay. I feel confident that there's not fruit. I don't know what walls he wants me to clean up. I think he's changed what he says now that I've defeated that guy. Kind of looking up there. What could be the wall he's looking at? He's looking like this way. I don't know. I don't see any walls with stuff on them, really. I think I have to assume that I already got what he would give me. Because if he was like clean off the walls, I would probably just do that at the time, I think. Ha! I can't decide if I hate this without the music or if I'm fine with it. Part of me is fine with it because I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't feel as manic. But part of me is like, it's kind of more boring. Music is important in a game, everyone, it turns out. I went into that tunnel. Weird to hear the mechanics of like these gizmos just going, you know? I don't know why. I guess because it's like, it's weird to think of like mechanical things in Mario. Like, not mechanical necessarily, like not like Flood, my backpack friend. More like, you know, it's weird to think of someone having a vacuum cleaner. Because you're like, so someone kind of invented the vacuum, huh? That's weird. So there's like science happening. Although I guess there has to be a vacuum in order for Luigi to do his thing. And then I thought I was so clever, so I'm listening to this show and I was like, I finally figured out, like last time I was playing this, I was like, oh, Luigi's Mansion, you vacuum things up in a mansion. And I was like, Mario, you shoot things. And I was like, it's like the same game, but the opposite. And then someone made that point on that show, and I was like, well, this is pretty typical for me, by the way, of I think something that I think is clever. And then it's like, yeah, I mean, some other person thought of this 20 years ago. Ooh. Alright, the only other place I can really think to look is perhaps swimming under this oil. That seems to be the only other thing on this stage that's accessible that I can't quite do. They were saying something good about this was they liked the hub world. And the hub world in this one they liked better than the castle from 64, which I disagree with, but that's fine. Also, they did say it's a hub world that kind of rewards exploring. exploration, which that's true. Because like in Mario Galaxy, the hub world is pretty much just a hub world. There's not really much to do there. Okay. I think we're going to have to take this as part 1, exploration complete. You know? I just don't see anything else to even look at. I guess it's possible that this guy, I need to spray the wall for him. It's possible that I need to do something with 1, 2, and 3. Oh, I just got an idea. Remember how there are those guys floating around and there's the 1, 2, and 3? I wonder if I can, like, push them back into those garages or something. I wonder if that's possible. Alright, well that's 1. Okay, so here's 2. Now I'm relatively certain that there's not a blue coin hidden in the actual surfing safari. Because, if I remember correctly, I know I did this. I walked backwards through the entire thing. So, it seems like that is an impossibility. It's like, I know there's got to be something with this little house at some point, right? There's just got to. But what? Or like if you could get there through the sewer or something. And yeah, you have to wonder things as you play, like, okay, I went through the sewer here on the last one. That doesn't mean, though, that there's not something in the sewer now that wasn't there before. Ta-da-la-la. I mean, to a certain extent as well, I guess I feel like, you know, I'm like, could I get everything on one level? Because if you can get everything on one level, then maybe you can get everything on another, you know? And that's probably not a totally fair thing to think, or a totally correct thing to think, but it's a thing I've thought. It's almost like, you know, if there was just a checklist in the game, this would really be so much more realistic. But instead it's just like, you just gotta play around a lot. I guess, you know, you could see it as like, it's fun. You're like thoroughly, by the time you get all the coins and the stars, you've explored this game. You know what I mean? Like, you have definitely done the thing. And you've kind of seen everything this game possibly has to offer. Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, I do. Okay, I will. Thanks, buddy. Let's swim under these logs and this dock. Or you know, it would be a thing they could do with this game. Once you finish the game, like once you get, you know, X number of stars and beat Bowser, they could give you a, they could be like, here's a blue coin detector. And so you can put that on, and then it's like, if there's a blue coin in that stage, it'll like ping. And, you know, it's basically a game of hot and cold. Because that way, you could preserve the sort of challenge of finding the coins for people who are like super hardcore. If you're just a masochist, you can do it that way. But if you're somewhat normal, but also a little bit of a masochist, you could do it that way. I mean, doesn't it just seem like there's got to be something for this? But I rode the blooper back into the thing, and that didn't do anything. It seemed. Okay. Hook up here. Exciting. Nothing there. I mean, I do appreciate the option to correct the jump, but like they said on the show, it's a little bit defeating because you don't know, you get so used to the mechanic, but then you hit those platforming levels and you don't have it anymore, and I think that does make those extra difficult. Because it's sort of like, well, if the whole game is designed around using this backpack, but then it's like, and then we take it away. And that would make sense to do occasionally, but it's such a huge part of the game. What about these little boats? One's got an interesting roof. Okay, I'm gonna do this first. Continue exploring up here, but then I need to go take a look at the little boats. I guess it's possible that one of these squid men would have a coin, right? They have to murder it in order to get it. Okay, I tried spraying one of these towers. One has a question mark on it. Does that mean anything? Oh no, that's not a question mark. All right. I think what they're saying on the show about the hub world and this one being better than 64. I think I agree with what they're saying, or I don't agree with it. I can understand where they're coming from, in as much as like there is more to do in the hub world, so the hub world feels like it has more of a purpose. But for me, I haven't enjoyed the hub. You know, there's more to do in the hub world, but like the more to do is very like, find these 3 fruits, find these 3 fruits. And that for me is like very unsatisfying. It's just not something, you know what I mean? You can't get excited about that. Okay. I'm pretty sure there was once a blue coin on the top of that line of coins. They were talking a bit about the controls and how it's a little unintuitive. They're saying one of the hard, or bad control schemes, I guess, is that so when you're chasing the blue fake Mario, what happens is you have to spray him. But if you if you're pushing forward because you're chasing him and you start spraying, you basically just spray the ground right in front of you. So, you know, that kind of causes you some trouble. Okay. Nothing. So let's try the little boats, shall we? Whoa. Look at me getting good at this. Like, this boat looks like something's going on, doesn't it? But it's not. It just looks so inviting, like, jump on me. You'll have fun. They did also talk about, so one complaint that they had that I don't necessarily share is they were like, well, so you get the other backpacks and they help you do other things. So like, for example, on this stage, when you get the rocket pack that lets you shoot up, that makes it much easier to play this stage and not get like completely frustrated. You know, you can... I was like, maybe this sailboat does something. Because you can fall, but you can kind of recover and jump back up without necessarily climbing every rung back up and all that. And I had mixed feelings about that. I was like, I see where you're coming from with that. But for me, I was like, I did pretty early on, you're made aware that there are other nozzles. Now, you don't know what they're going to do, but I think it kind of, it worked for me in as much as like any kind of Metroidvania game, for example. You'll usually come across an area that you're like, I can't seem to access this area. It just seems like something is amiss, you know? And so that's kind of how I felt about the other things. And I was like, well, it is kind of, it would be nice to know what they did, I guess. Because then you would know a little bit, you'd have a little bit better idea of like, okay, I should just come back to this stage later. But it's not like a huge, I wouldn't call it a flaw in the game. That was pretty weak, sir. Okay, let's look around over here. I do think, though, it's kind of like the backpack, the hover is pretty useful. They did talk too about how it's kind of like the flutter jump from Yoshi's Island, and also how it's like the princess or Luigi jump from Mario 2. And I was like, as a Mario person who's played a lot of Mario, what a great name I just made for myself. As someone who's played some Mario, I was like, yeah, that's true. That's good. But the other backpacks are moderately useful. But you know, I would call them moderately useful at best. See, like, this makes it seem like maybe you spray around and you'll find something, but I don't know. It would be nice if it indicated that you've already gotten one. Like, you got a coin here already. Like, if this guy would just say, I think I gave you all the coins I got, then I would be like, alright. No need to talk to this idiot anymore. And it is one of my gripes in this game that they have extra people who they don't need. Like, on one hand, I get the idea of, you know, this way it seems like an island where there are people. It's not just like an empty whatever. This seems like it could be a thing, right? Bluebirds? Yeah, I know. Kind of bumming me out as well. But is what it is. Okay. I think I've almost kind of exhausted my options on this stage. Shit. For this instance, I should say. Yeah, I mean, as far as control, it's funny to me because, you know, they were talking on the show about how they were trying to kind of win back the crowd they lost from Mario 64, but they went more complicated, in my opinion. The control scheme for this is more complicated because in 64 you just had Mario. You know what I mean? You didn't have a backpack, you didn't have other things. So, I don't know. I don't know if there was some kind of disagreement, too, in the development that resulted in this, like, where it was like, part of the team was, more complex is okay, and part of the team was like, we need to make this easier, you know, and the two could never really find common ground or something, maybe. There was the guy who said there's like fruit stuck in the thing, but I'm not sure if he's like talking about a blue coin option for me or if he's talking about just how basically I get the fruit for Yoshi, and I kind of think that's what he's talking about. Fruits. Is that everything? Have I done it all? Those should not go away when they're in your hand. Game. I feel I've done it all. I feel I've seen it all and done it all. Maybe I should take an extra ride with the blooper. Try one more time to go in those doors. And then also go through the thing one more time. And take the slowest one and really look around and see if I can see anything. Because I reckon it's not impossible that there's a thing in there, a blue coin. I mean, on the plus, I have all the sprites on this level, so that I achieved. I mean, I guess it's also... I do want to finish the star that's out on the island, where you have to take the boat, take the other boat, and get out there with Yoshi, because that feels to me like unfinished business. You know what I mean? That feels like something where it's like, well, I think I could do it. I just don't, you know... I just don't know. I want to go out there when I have like 15 lives or something. Because then if I can get that one feels like one of the more annoying ones in the game. So I feel a weird sense of like the game is beating me if I don't get that. Why'd I do that? That was really dumb. That could only cause me pain. Okay. Barely convinced it's not here. So this puts me through the first two instances. Fairly convinced that there's no blue coin action here. There's no action to be had. Do you think it's possible that on the red coin stage, where you have to surf on the thing, a blue coin also comes up when you hit the red coin switch? That would be kind of crazy, right? Okay, we did this one. And I thought I did a pretty thorough look around, but I forgot to try and ride the blooper back into the thing. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not convinced that that's the move, so... Okay, I don't think this actually does anything. I think this is just like a fun thing, but I'm not 100% sure. I wish I had known a little bit more about this game when I started, in terms of I probably would have spent more time getting blue coins, because whenever I found one, I would have been like, you know, I should just get any ones that I see, because that's probably more important than getting... Because I'm going to forget, right? Whereas the stars, I'm not going to forget. But, you know, it's kind of weird because at the beginning of the game, it's difficult. Like, there's a learning curve. And it does feel like, well, if I'd known, or like, I felt like I needed to focus on getting the stars. That's kind of how you progress in the game. I thought there might be something with these fish. I blasted them a couple times, but that didn't seem to do anything. What am I, in the caged one? Is that the one I'm on? So I know I went up to the cage last time. When I played this on whatever. But I guess I have to go up there, because that's what I'm doing, right? Being thorough. Is it possible that this guy has a blue coin, but he's gonna go flinging off? Okay, well, he didn't burst into a blue coin, so you have to assume that he does not have the blue coin inside of his innards. What about this guy? That's not as definitive as I would like, but it's gonna have to do. Talk to that guy? Or should I take this hook? I should probably get this, right? It's probably more useful for me right now. Okay. Down and talk to this guy. Worthless. I think that cheated a little, but I'm okay with that. Okay. Okay, I want to go talk to those couple of guys. I should talk to this person. Maybe? Does that make him feel better? No. I've got the cure. Some more crabs. I should kill them. What? How do you kill him? What? All right. Not the crabs. I'm all out of crude jokes about crabs, so just gonna have to deal with it. Yeah, I talked to this guy. So now I am fairly sure that I did. That I did this one in a pretty thorough way before. Oh, wrong button. But hey, he likes doing it, so that's fine. I think we looked under here by accident, but let's do that again. All right, nothing. Okay, these have all been pretty well explored. Damn it. I do need to go over to the little island over there, so when I struggled to get over there with Yoshi and then realized I could get over there by having that guy toss me, I think once I'm on the Yoshi instance, so that's something I need to try. Nothing. I guess so. I mean, I'm just like, they wouldn't do that, right? And then I'm like, you gotta be careful. I think what remains to be explored is probably over here. And I think I can get up to these. Damn it. Okay. Yep, okay. That was close. Okay. Nothing happening. Alright, nothing here. Fairly convinced there's nothing, and then I went into that, right? Because that was when I found the other 8 red coin thing on this level and made that discovery. So I think we're covered for instance 3. Okay, well, that covers our play for today. Taking a couple runs at Rico Harbor again. We did get 1 Shine Sprite, and I think there's only 2 or 3 more blue coins to get here. And we've got through 3 of the instances of 8. I think there's 8. Oh, God!